This is a guide on choosing a cruise cabin that will best fit your needs.
My name is Stuart. This is Ship to Shore Cruise News. Let's get into it.
First of all, if you're dealing with a travel agent, they should be doing all this hard work for you. They should have a couple of small questions for you that will help you find the best cabin for you, for who you are. I'm sure you looked into a few videos or a few Reddit posts or Facebook posts that say, where should I have my cabin? Well, let's go through it. First of all, something that's important is a lot of people do get motion sickness, or they're afraid that they might get motion sickness when on a cruise. If you are vulnerable to motion sickness, or you're afraid you're going to get motion sickness, then the best piece of advice that I can give to you is that you're going to want in the center of the ship, in the middle area, but at a lower deck. You're going to feel the motion of the ocean a little less while you're down in those lower decks in the middle of the ship. Once you get up higher, you are going to feel the boat sway more and more. And if you're at the front or the back, you're going to feel it going tippy up and down quite a lot. When it comes to cabins, well, we're going to start with the most basic and usually the cheapest, and that's going to be an interior cabin. The interior cabins are going to be on the inside of the ship, and there's going to be no windows or outside view at all. These are just going to be boxes with a room, a TV, a bathroom in them. Sometimes they can sleep up to 4. There are family inside cabins as well. But you might find that you get a little claustrophobic if you like to see the outside. I know many cruisers who love the interior cabins. They find that they don't spend a lot of time in their cabin, and they're out on the deck socializing and doing different activities on the ship throughout the day. I've stayed on an interior cabin once on a Carnival ship, and it was a very nice cabin, I have to say. It felt pretty big, but I did feel like I wanted to be outside the room more often than not. I did notice as well, it was a lot darker at night in that cabin than the other cabins, than balcony cabins or OceanViews that I've had, and I got a really good night's sleep. The next cabin up, I guess you could say, is going to be the OceanView cabin. You're going to have different types of OceanView cabins. There's going to be the OceanView cabins that just have a porthole, and there's going to be some OceanView cabins that have huge, big picture windows of the outside. These may cost differently, or it might be just luck of the draw about which one you get. I was on the NCL Escape in a family OceanView, and we had quite a large window. We were on deck 2, and we were able to actually see one of the port pilots board the ship and get off the ship right below us. It was a great experience. These rooms, these cabins, you're not going to be able to open the window. You're not going to be able to have any fresh air coming in from the outside, but it does allow you to just look outside if you just want to glance and see what's going on outside. For me, I like to have some sort of sense of whether or not it's day or not, so being able to peek out the window to see it's daytime made me feel a little bit better. There's more to it with OceanView cabins, not just the small porthole or the big picture window, but you also have obstructed view cabins. Quite often these are going to have the lifeboats out front, or maybe there's something on the side of the ship that's going to be blocking your view. You won't have a 100% clear view outside your window. Sometimes there's going to be something right in the middle. Sometimes you might be just looking over top of something that'll obscure your view a little bit. What you can do is, if you take a look on the maps of those ships, you can get a good idea as to what might be outside that window. The most popular cabin on a cruise ship, I think, in my opinion, is a balcony suite. So this is usually a nice suite with a couple of nice beds or one queen-size bed, and it's going to have a balcony that you can step out onto. You can open up the door, you can step outside, there's usually a table, 2 chairs, and you can sit there and watch the ocean go by or take a look at the sights at your local port wherever you are. I quite like it. I've had breakfast there. Sometimes if I'm having an early morning excursion, I can get room service with a carafe of coffee, some fruit, maybe a couple of croissants, and some yogurt, and it's nice to sit out there as the ship docks. It's still dark outside, enjoying a cup of coffee, maybe some orange juice, and having a nice leisurely breakfast before we begin our day. Having a balcony cabin as well, I find that you're more inclined to return to the room for naps, or maybe you just want to take a break and watch some TV for a while. It's a nice meeting place for the family or for whoever you're cruising with as well. And they're quite nice. They are quite nice. Usually there's only a shower in these rooms, but as you move up to the next level, you can get bathtubs. In balconies, there are as well, you can have your obstructed or your not obstructed view cabins as well. The obstructed views, there's going to be something out there in your way. It could be right in front of your room, or maybe it's just partially blocking your room view from your balcony. The next step up are suites. So suites are like large balconies. I'll just put it that way. The room is bigger, the balcony is slightly larger. In these cabins, quite often you're going to have a sitting area and a bed area as well. There'll be a little couch in there. It'll be quite nice to be able to sit there, and that's great if you've got, say, 3 or 4 people in your cabin. It provides a lot more room, or if there's just 2 of you, it provides a nice place to just sit on the couch and perhaps watch TV, or you use your laptop, or do whatever. Or even just sit and play cards on the table that you'll find. Most suites I've found have bathtubs in them. Now, sometimes you are going to get lucky and get a full-size bathtub, but more often than not, it's going to be a shorter bathtub. And that's great. It's a bathtub, especially if you're with a family. If you're a family and you've got small children, you can easily bathe them. Or if you're not as tall as everybody else, it's going to be quite fine for you. And I envy those people who can get into that bathtub and take a nice bath that way. After suites, then you start to get into the high-end cabins. You're going to get into the 2-bedrooms villas, the 2-bedroom suites. You're going to get into the Haven suites. These are going to be 2, sometimes 3-bedroom suites. If you go on the Icon of the Seas, you could have a 3-level townhouse. Those are quite expensive, and I'm not going to get into those at this time. So we're about halfway through. Don't end the video yet, because I have to mention my sponsor of this video. And my sponsor of the video is me. I'm my sponsor. So as my sponsor, I've got a message here today. If you like this information that I'm giving out, give it a thumbs up. Hey, if you want to see more of my videos and know when I have some more information for you, hit that subscribe. These things only help me as a creator. Also, I love coffee. I don't get enough of it. So if you want to help buy me a cup of coffee, click the link below and buy me a cup of coffee. Anyway, back to our regular scheduled video. So we talked about the different types of classes of rooms. The basic ones, the interior, the ocean view, the balcony. Now, you can just go and choose one, but where on the ship can make a huge difference. My advice is if you're going to choose your own room yourself, take a look at the maps of where that room is or where you want to choose. You don't want to be underneath the pool deck, because at about 5 a.m., 6 a.m., the crew is out there sliding those deck chairs around, and you're going to hear that all morning in your room. You're not going to want to hear that. You're not going to want to be under the buffet, because there's people up very, very early tromping around in there, and the kitchen in there can make a lot of noise as well. So be aware of what's above you when you pick that room. So take a look at those maps, take a look at those floor plans, and choose that accordingly. You shouldn't just think about what's above you. You need to think of what's below you as well. Below you, you don't want to be over a nightclub or a comedy club, or perhaps over a main theater, depending on what time you like to go to bed, because that noise is going to come through from below. So be aware of what's below you as well as what's above you. I did mention that on the escape, we were on deck 2. Our cabin was below customer service. Not where people line up, though. It was below the offices areas. And I have to say, we were sleeping in until 8:30, 9 a.m., and we didn't hear anything above us. They were very quiet. It was great. Another advantage of being down low, when you get back from an excursion or a port, you don't have to fight for the elevator like everyone else. You can just go up 1, 2 decks on the stairs and you're back at your cabin, whereas if you were waiting for the elevator, you'd still be there. That is if you don't have any accessibility issues. So if you're somebody who wants to get back to the room after a port, then take a lower level room. You can just walk up the stairs in no time at all. So as I was saying, if you go with a travel agent, they're going to do most of this work for you. They're going to ask you a few questions like, do you want to be closer to the entertainment or do you want to be closer to the deck? Are you seasick or worried about being seasick? They're going to find out this information from you, and then they're going to go ahead and take a look for you. Another thing that's interesting, and my travel agent has done this for me, is found a balcony that on the map isn't just a flat balcony, but it's beside a suite that has a larger balcony, and half my balcony is twice the size as the other half. So that's kind of neat. It kind of felt special having this oddly shaped balcony, but it was noticeable how much more room I had. Another point you have to watch out for is upgrades. Occasionally you could get a free upgrade to another class of cabin. You might go from an inside to OceanView, you might go from an OceanView to a balcony, you might go from a balcony to a suite. A couple of those things have happened to me. If it's offered to you, you should try to find out where that cabin is first, because you don't want to say, yes, I'll take this upgrade, and then find out you're right below the pool deck, or you're in some place that you don't want to be. Perhaps you're prone to motion sickness and you chose a place nice down and low, and they've moved you to somewhere at the front of the ship up high where you're going to feel a lot of motion. So be aware of that. Now, if you don't care, then go for it. And I know there's a lot of people who just don't care. Now, when it comes to not caring about where you are on a cruise ship, beware of guaranteed cabins, because they are just going to stick you wherever they can. Also, with guaranteed cabins, and I've seen this on some cruise lines, is that sometimes people booking guaranteed cabins will get bumped from the cruise entirely because people are willing to pay a little bit more to choose their cabin. So if you're going on a cruise, when you're going on a cruise, you should choose your cabin. Don't take a guaranteed cabin. Don't take that chance that someone's going to pay for your cabin and you're going to get a letter, an email saying your cancel's being cruised. Here's your money back. There was a case recently where a family found out when they were boarding the ship that their cruise had been canceled. So choosing a cabin on a ship can be difficult. It can sound difficult. If you use a travel agent, it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And when you go on a cruise, or when you're thinking of cruise information and looking on these videos, there's something you have to remember, is that my name is Stuart. This is Ship to Shore Cruise News, and as always, get your cruise on.